Hey everyone, I guess this will be round two. I originally thought that I hit Facebook Live ready to go, and clearly I didn't, so I will take another kick at the can here. Um, Today I'm going to talk to you about flexibility and mobility and its role or impact on training. This is an area that most people don't want to focus on. And the reason is it's partly because it's a big unknown. Do I do flexibility? Do I do mobility work? I've heard bad things about it. Don't do it. So people just, kind of put that out to the side and then just solely focus on diet and training. And then a lot of people, when we're talking about training, go, "Oh man, I'm so frustrated. Why am I not seeing changes? This is so terrible. I'm working harder. I'm eating on point, but yet my body's not changing. I'm not developing." Well, the first thing that we should talk about then is going to be, well, are those movements the best suited for your body? And people go, well, how do I know that? Well, the first thing before beginning a training program, or if the person you're working with, they will have assessed you and or tested you to see what movements are the best ones for you if they don't already know you. So what I mean by this is flexibility or mobility will inhibit your training program if you can't move properly. So there's no muscular efficiency. If a muscle's either not firing properly, it's restricted, then it will affect how your body's going to develop. An example of this would be hip flexors. So someone who's seated a lot at work and their hip flexors get tight, well then there's an inhibition of the gluteals. So then no matter what you do as far as squats, deadlifts, if there's no improvements or there's no changes being made to the body's efficiency patterns to make the glutes fire, then you're missing out on a big muscle group that can determine the change that your body's going to see. So, and I guess the second thing is that if you're not making changes or you don't understand your body, then of course the results aren't going to be there. So the one thing I will say is if you're training 4 to 7 days a week, well, flexibility and mobility should be a part of those days or a part of those training times. And a lot of people don't want to put the effort in. They'll say 95% training and then 5% mobility work. Well, let's face it, if you can't move properly, then your workout's all for naught. You're going to burn a few calories, but then get frustrated because your body doesn't change. So here's the thing. Just like you would choose your training program, sets, reps, loads, how many days per week, split sets, drop sets, supersets, all those types of factors, people will research to the ends of the earth to design the best program. Well, if we're actually not mobile enough or flexible enough to do that program, then it's not going to be a great program. So things that I would say to be able to do is, or advice to give is, one, have someone assess your mobility. So there's functional movement screens. There's people who will just do a dynamic assessment on your body. So figuring out what muscle groups are working, what muscle groups aren't, or the best movement patterns for you. There's all sorts of things that you can do. Now, to go into the training side of it is, well, what do I need to be doing and when do I need to do it? Just like training, this is all individual. Do I use a foam roller? Do I do static stretching? Do I do dynamic stretching? Do I do it before? Do I do it afterwards? Well, just like training, this is all a customizable portion of your training. And the better that you do this, the more results that you're going to get. So if I have imbalances in my body, then I got to choose the right exercises to help me fix those imbalances. Because if my body's operating efficiently, then I do make changes. So people go, well, okay, so what do I do then? Like, this is all this information, but I have no idea what to do. First thing is, you got to find what works for you. So contact a professional, figure out what it is that you need to do. That way there, as your exercise programs are designed, you're going to make the best use of those programs. People don't realize that, inflexibility or poor mobility patterns can also lead to injury, right? So the biggest thing with that is ensuring that you're going to have someone take care of you, or you figure enough about your body to take care of it before something happens. I like to call it prehab. A lot of my clients will come in and we'll do mobility work first, and or I'll give them dynamic movements to do, and then we'll move into our training session. That way there I can ensure that their muscles are in a most efficient pattern. Remember, a long muscle is a strong muscle. It has more potential to ensure people change. Same thing, take your time in your warm-up. Get your body warmed up. And part of a warm-up doesn't necessarily just mean running on the treadmill. It means actually preparing your neuromuscular system for work. And the best way of doing that, and I think the best way of doing that, is a dynamic workout or a dynamic stretching session at the beginning. So no static stretching. Make your muscles accustomed to what you're going to do, and you will perform much better. So just like your training, things that you want to be looking at is if I'm stretching muscles, which muscles am I stretching? That I'm not going to be making my muscles worse. So i.e., the person who has the tight hip flexors don't realize they have tight hip flexors, and all they want to do is stretch their hamstrings because they feel short. Well, here's the thing. That's actually not helping. You really need to dive into the hip flexors, open those guys up, right? Again, where I'm going with that is a lot of people who have tight hip flexors, because you're in a seated rigid position all day, it always feels like it's your lower back. Yeah, potentially it's there, but if you know that your hip flexors, if you open up the hip flexors, most of that stiffness and pain goes away. So understanding what it is that you're stretching and why you're stretching it is just as important as why you choose the bench press and how many reps to do, right? So see somebody, figure out what it is that you need to do as far as exercise-wise goes, but then figure out what it is that you need to do for mobility, and do it just as often as you would training. If that's the case, you will get a much better desired result. Again, muscles that are longer are stronger, will have better recruitment patterns, and you'll see gains. It's simple. Long muscles also typically have better blood flow. Better blood flow means that the body's delivering everything that the muscles need in order to work out and also to recover, right? So just like training, flexibility and mobility need to be done minimum 4 to 7 days a week, just like your training. If you spent half as much time focused on your workouts and half as much time, again, focused on your mobility, then you will definitely see a result on there. If in doubt, find someone who can do this for you, and you will actually see the physical difference. All right, guys, any questions, just let me know, and we'll talk soon. So be safe, stretch well, and train well. Thanks, guys.